I'm gonna be doing a little recap video of the van that you guys might have seen on the channel. I didn't start filming the van until, I don't know, maybe like halfway through the project when we decided to do a YouTube channel. So I've got a few pictures lined up. Well, there's quite a few of them, but they're just pictures, so I'm gonna do a little voiceover. And I just want you guys to keep in mind, we didn't have necessarily the proper patch panels for the van. So a lot of these things we had to hand make, and we rely on some body work to get everything seamless. So just a little heads up there. And there's quite a few pictures. Some of it's a little hard to see, but I just wanted to try and get as much of a well-rounded I guess overlook of the whole entire project. And then I have a few clips at the end of actually once it's finished, after obviously we had started filming the process. So bear with me a little on the pictures, and I think once we're done, you'll be able to see kind of the full transformation. So should be pretty cool to see from start to finish, even though they're just some pictures at the beginning. So this is what the van looked like when it pulled up to the shop the first day that we saw it and realized this was going to be the new project. And this was actually the first one that I tackled on a lot by myself, obviously help from the rest of the shop as well. But this is what it looked like when we got it back from sandblasting. You can kind of see how rough it was. And at this point, it was like, oh boy, like this is way worse than we thought. But as you'll see, slowly but surely start to find all the bad, cut out all the rust and the weak metal, and things like these, the supports, and the corners of the van where moisture might get trapped at. We cut it all out, everything that we could find, and just pretty much started making my own sheet metal pieces. Obviously, like I said, getting some help from Jason and Ryan to kind of figure it out. One of the pieces I got help on, making this piece right here, we actually had to weld nuts to that new piece because that's where the bolts for the door hinges went into. And little bead roll we did, indention just like the factory there, just to kind of make it look as well as we could, and just kind of showing some processes of welding. This was actually my first sheet metal repair job, so I was pretty excited to learn how to weld sheet metal, as well as figure out the whole process of grinding it down and body working it flat. And you can see here the rear passenger side corner had a pretty gnarly spot that was gone, so I actually made that full piece by hand. And then obviously you can tell, still learning on the welding a little bit, but then we had to cut that whole side out because it was pretty bad. And this is just the inner piece, inner support. And then, like I said too, these are all a bunch of pictures that I'm kind of trying to put together, so you just get an overall look of how bad it was at one point. But a lot of spots, just like you saw there, just small rust holes that we had to go back and obviously repair. One of the pieces we were able to actually get right here where the gas fill was able to use that. And then you can kind of the same thing, I had it clipped up. I had to mock it up before I welded it in. And this was a bear right here, this piece. As you can see, it was bad farther than our actual panel went, so we had to add a little piece in there, which made it a little bit tougher. But we were able to get it with you know, the right amount of body work and everything. And some things that you probably wouldn't think about is spots like this under the headlights that were just completely rotten, and you wouldn't really think, or at least I wouldn't think, it was double layered. So 2 pieces of metal had to be cut out and replaced, welded in obviously, and then on to smoothing it out, trying to make it look as good as possible before body work. And these would be where the front signals were mounted at. Those were also rotted out, so I had to cut out those and remake those flat pieces and drill the holes and everything, obviously before body work. This front piece right here actually had like a 1/2 inch of Bondo before we got it, so we didn't even see that actual whole front body line right there. And this is kind of after I wire wheeled it as close as the metalwork was done before actually doing body work. As you'll see here, I was actually able to get a video of the body work, and this is without any pictures. I hadn't taken any from the last picture you saw to this video, so I just found this on my phone and was fortunate that I got you know, a good walk around of all the body work we actually had to do to get this van as straight as we could. And this was the final state we saw it before she got a nice few coats of primer, which we actually had to prime and sand quite a few times to get the body looking completely good before it was ready for paint. I believe this was actually when I was taping off for the champagne. Yeah, because I had painted the dash, and then we also went ahead and sprayed the door jambs. You'll see a little bit of green right here. So we wanted to do the door jambs first, just to get those out of the way. And then, like I said, this was actually masking off for the champagne that I was spraying on the top. And if you've seen the other videos that I've uploaded so far, I did one on spraying just this color. So this is actually a clip from that time that you might have already seen. But just a nice walk around right before spraying the green, which you'll see in this clip right here. This was actually the first time that we saw the champagne and the green right next to each other. You know, holding up a panel of the champagne on top of the green, or vice versa, didn't really do it justice as much as seeing them actually next to each other fully on the van. It gives you a little bit less of a full effect, obviously, while the windows are taped and papered off, but looked pretty cool. This is like when it really set in, like this was a really, really cool project to take on, and it was paying off all that metal work that we did and everything. So shortly after that, we were able to get it outside, and we were bummed because the sun wasn't out, and then we got super lucky, and it ended up coming out for us, as you can see here. Get a full effect of how awesome that flake was and just how good it looked. So I actually kind of mixed up a little bit. This one is actually the last day that we had it, and we had finally gotten the mirrors all put together and got the glass back for them. So these are a couple of the last shots we got before it went home. It's a pretty big day for me. Finally got to see my final product, and then these are the last clips we got right before she left. It's a little late to the final video, but we're kind of almost at the last stage. So we've got it out here. We got it back running. It looks super, super good. We went around and added this little pinstripe to break up the two colors, and it really cleaned it up a lot. Obviously not, can't tell a whole lot on camera, but it's looking pretty good. So if you notice, we've got the mirror mounts all on. We're waiting for the glass. Just trying to be a nice guy and clean up the mirrors, and I dropped one of the pieces. They were in really bad shape anyway, so we just got new glass cut for them. So we're waiting on that, but out in the sun, all cleaned up, wet sand and buffed. Super good. Not bad. So we'll probably bring it out here about probably the same spot once we got the mirrors all done. Hopefully get some really good pictures of it completely finished. But I think that's pretty much it besides the actual mirrors. So it's looking super good. I'm very happy with it. A little rolling shot of her. Ryan's gonna spin it around for me. Like I said, I'll probably get another video once we have it all assembled and everything, but this is the first time we had it out, so just figure I'd document it. I should have started filming when I first started doing this thing. Literally from right there all the way to there was completely cut out right there, and it's not 1000% perfect, but it's pretty good for what it is. Now you can get a better look at this side in the sunlight. You can really see the pinstripe a lot cleaner. All right, Ryan's taking him some pictures. We got the mirror glass in. Everything is all buttoned up. She's complete. And we're stoked. The mirrors turned out really clean. All new glass, nice and sealed. That's a wrap.